What? Hey film friends, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Welcome to the channel. So listen guys, I know I said last week that it was time to hit the awards trail hard with our reviews, but I'm nothing if not a man of the people. And I've seen over 250,000 reviews for this week's film over on Letterboxd. Shout out to our Letterboxd friends. You can find us on there with the handle Furman on Film. So in today's video, we'll be reviewing The Menu. If you're new to the channel, our format is simple. So we'll start off with a synopsis, then we'll move into a discussion of some likes and dislikes, and we'll conclude with a bit of deeper analysis and some of my own original thoughts about the picture. So if you've been here before, you get it. Timestamps in the description below. And of course, as always, please stay till the end to get our FOF rating out of 5 stars. Without further ado, this is The Menu. The Menu is the story of a couple who accept an invitation to a high-end restaurant on a remote, exclusive island. It's a place that holds only 1 seating per night, a location where a world-renowned chef comes out before each course and gives a speech to all of the patrons. 2 words for you: molecular gastronomy. Look that one up. This is an establishment where you're actually eating the island with every course. It's Shiva Baby meets Hell's Kitchen. Ratatouille meets Saw. It's The Menu. So let's get to some of what I liked about the picture. The Menu is a film full of biting commentary. Really? I mean, every YouTube review of this film, what did they all have? Food puns. I mean, what's my motivation? As a satire, the writing here is often terrific. Director Mark Mylod has actually said that a lot of the dialogue in The Menu was improvised by the cast on set. Because of this, we get a work that is very intellectually scathing, but also laugh out loud funny. Kind of like that joke we just made. Great writing, off the cuff. Yeah, all right, bring it in. The way that this devolves into a thriller is also deserving of praise. The picture gets more dark and cynical as it goes along. As I've said, there's humor, but it never alleviates the tension that the film keeps heaping upon us as it proceeds. It's also worth noting that most of this film takes place in a single room. Now this can be very hard to hold attention and suspense for a film that runs about 100 minutes or so, but The Menu pulls it off. One of the ways that it accomplishes this is in the use of title cards for each course throughout the evening. These cards include ingredients with hilarious verbiage. Each course carries with it new revelations and twists. Now let's do a little deeper look into the performances in the film. Next, we have to get to Ralph Fiennes' performance. I mean, what can I say? They made he who must not be named a chef. Fiennes is contemptuous and pompous, but in a few moments, deeply human. It's just hard to imagine any other actor playing the part in quite this convincing of a way. Then there's Chau, freshly Oscar-nominated Chau, that is. Here, she's Charon. She's the gatekeeper, the ferryman across the river Styx, taking the customers to their place of judgment. Someone been boning up on their Greek mythology, I see. She's icy and distant in ways that I've heard the host can be in these types of establishments. There are no substitutions at Hawthorne. Of course, she's also just our guide as the customers arrive and are given a tour of the island. And Anya Taylor-Joy is solid as usual. We immediately connect with her as an outsider to this little tribe. Her character is also really convenient for exposition dumps for the viewer. Anya is just masterfully expressive with her eyes and subtle facial movements. Okay, so let's move on to some of my dislikes of The Menu. I'll start by saying that I generally really liked the cast. Still, each character here is an archetype. We've got the money crew, the finance bros, the you work for me, give me bread guys, critics, fanboys, self-professed food lovers, rich foodies. and an actor. Now I should say that John Leguizamo is one of my favorite parts, but here he's basically playing a sellout, the maker of cheap art, a throwaway movie that this chef saw on his only day off. So as in a lot of satire, some of these characters are really well developed, and others just feel like stereotypical stand-ins for their one shortcoming. In other words, they're kind of two-dimensional. More importantly, in some ways, the setup of this film is so good that the rest of the film can't help but suffer by comparison. As this picture goes along, it changes tonally. Not only does it become more of a thriller, but it actually gets absurdist. And where you're willing to fall on that line between rolling with the fantastical elements and pumping the brakes directly correlates to how much that you'll enjoy it. In particular, the third act and the thrilling finale. Once the film turns in one shocking moment, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There begin to be significant logical leaps in the character's actions. Anyway, I'll just say in places that the character's non-action just didn't sit right with me. And because I was not all the way in on these things, the ending of the film did not satisfy me completely. All right, now let's move on to some of my own personal thoughts and conclusions about this film. As I've mentioned already, there is social commentary all over this thing. First and foremost, it's a satire about class relations, chefs, critics, the entire food industry, really. And if we're being honest, it could represent a whole lot of other industries as well. First, I thought this was going to be one kind of thriller. Hint, maybe you'll find it in this one. But it turns out to be something else completely. Fairly early on in the picture, Ralph Fiennes' character, Julian, the chef, says, "I make art on the edge of the abyss, where God works too." I think this hints at what the menu is really about. The process of making art, and a scathing critique of how we consume it. Just how stifling it can be to the creative process when you present your work to the world and it's not fully appreciated. It's just a joy killer. Now, watchers of the film will notice that there's one actor we've not yet talked about. Nicholas Hoult plays a character who's pretentious about the culinary arts, an obsessed fanboy, the uppity guy who knows everything you could possibly know about tasting and preparing food, but who can't actually do a lick of it himself. The one sequence of Hoult's character prepping a course on his own reminded me of that bench scene between Matt Damon and Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting, where he says, "I can't learn anything about you I couldn't find in a book." In other words, there's a world of difference between knowing all about art and having the kind of creative genius to produce it on your own. The menu also touches upon this sort of culture of celebrity and the cult-like status we see with certain athletic figures or artists, bands, or in some cases, movie directors. Fiennes' character, the chef Julian Slovic, has an entire crew of acolytes who sleep in these neatly arranged cots and follow his every whim and mimic his every move. Finally, there's a real "let's hear it for the service industry" shout out going on here as well. The service industry workers fight back. We see it in the way that Anya Taylor-Joy's characters treated differently as the film progresses. And the message is clear: don't with the people who serve you. To conclude, the menu is a solid and well-paced picture. The bear was better. All right, settle down. We're talking about movies here. It's a satire full of excellent performances, incisive critiques of the culinary and high art world, and laugh-out-loud moments, even as it deftly glides into a thriller which some will find horrifying, and a finale which will delight some, land a bit too on the nose for others, but shock all. The menu is above all wickedly entertaining. Well, there you have it. The only thing left to discuss is our rating for this film. The FOF rating for this film is 4 out of 5 stars. If you enjoyed this review, please let us know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. You can also hit that little bell so you get notified every time we release a new video. How did you feel about this film? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below. And please don't forget to head on over to FurmanOnFilm.com, where you can get your movie fix on our most recent written reviews. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay firm, my friends.